What's good, everybody? It's The Dime with Josh and Kwab. We would appreciate it if you clicked the subscribe button, if you put notifications on, as we are a growing NBA YouTube channel. We will dissect almost everything about the playoffs. We make no guarantees, but you know
You
what?
make
It's
no
going to be a
guarantees.
freaking good time. Make sure you hit the subscribe button below. Enjoy the episode.
We go over the first week of NBA playoff action next on The Dime.
You are now listening to The Dime with Josh and Kwab, your go-to NBA podcast. Subscribe on Apple, follow on Spotify, and be sure to hit up the YouTube channel for video content. And now your hosts, Josh and Kwab.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome to The Dime. Week 1 of NBA playoff action is in the books. Kwab and I are here to talk about it. If you want to follow The Dime, you can on Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube at The Dime NBA. I'm Josh Rodriguez at Josh_Rodriguez_. He is Kwab at Kwab, a.k.a. Yes. And yes, the Knicks are up 3-1 against the Philadelphia 76ers. Let's get into it with headlines. Yes, this is headlines. This is where we make up headlines and we determine whether or not they are real or fake news. As I alluded to before, we're going to get things started with the New York Knicks. Headline number 1, Knicks take over Philadelphia. Sixers just too soft. I'll get things started, Kwab. I'll get this started. I will.
He's like, I'm just throw it to myself.
Bro, I didn't even let Kwab talk in the intro. Like, didn't ask him how he was doing.
Like, by the way.
Just going straight for the jugular. Real news, baby. This is real news. Listen, this is what I was trying to tell everybody beforehand. I'm not going to give out any names of people who I work with in the industry, but some people pick the Sixers in this series that I work with and who I know professionally pick the Sixers in the series because of Joel Embiid, right? Because Joel Embiid he's the best player in the series. He is. He's better than Bunchen. That's fine. No big deal. And Tyrese Maxey, who's going to side Maxey? I get it. You know, talent's a great thing. But you don't have the toughness of New York City, baby. Sixers are just too soft for this team. They are. It's playoff basketball, and the Knicks are made to play playoff basketball. Listen, you can say whatever you want about Tom Thibodeau and his coaching style, but he has molded this team for this moment. The Knicks play 82 games. They go hard every single game, and I don't think it's a coincidence that when it comes to playoff time, they are going to beat a team like the 76ers who don't. You know, not to say that they didn't have injuries, not to say that they didn't have things they had to take care of, but they didn't have the sense of urgency like the New York Knicks did all season. To be honest with you, frankly, I don't know how many teams did. I think that's the difference in this series right now. If you look at the offensive rebounds, if you look at the defensive possessions, this is Tom Thibodeau. This is Tibbs. All the Tibbs haters out there, this is him. He's winning this series for them, not just with adjustments. We can talk about Achua. We can talk about OG Garden Embiid. We can talk about all that. But Tom Thibodeau has installed this grit, this mentality into this team. And, baby, it's paying off. Sixers just too soft, baby. I know it's not over. It's not over. This might come back to bite me in the ass. But Cloud 9. I'm on Cloud 9. This is real news. Kwab, Sixers just too soft. Real or fake news?
I will say fake news just to annoy you. Because I don't like the phrasing of soft. I just don't like that. I don't like the phrasing. Is it over? Well, when it comes down to it, we both picked the Knicks to win
We
this
did.
series.
You and I both did, yeah.
We both didn't even have the Sixers coming out the play-in. That's
I forgot about that.
we caught a little bit of flack from that from all like Philly.
Listen, Jimmy
Philly
Butler
fans,
doesn't
whatever,
go down.
but,
Who knows what happens? But go ahead.
I'm just saying.
Just saying.
I'm just saying. We didn't even have Philly coming out of the plane. The series is kind of going how I expected it to go in terms of how the Knicks are winning, because the Knicks they just make the hustle plays. They make the big plays during crunch time. They used to kind of, when they make people say the phrase of playing in the mud or playing dirty, like they're used to playing that way and just playing harder. Like I think this previous game there's a sequence where Josh Hart got like 3 crucial offensive rebounds, and it made a difference. Even the game where it felt like it was over for the Knicks and you guys pulled out the victory when you guys were down, I think 5. It was Isaiah Hardenstein got a bunch of offensive rebounds that led to the 3-pointers. They just have players that make those like big key plays when it's time to. And that's why I'm not gonna say the Sixers are soft. I just think it's just a case of the Knicks have the better team overall. To me, when I look at the matchups, even yes, granted Embiid is not healthy, which is a big factor in it,
It
but just
is.
the style of play
But he's been playing
is a
well.
huge
I mean,
factor.
he didn't have a good fourth quarter, but he's been playing well all series. He's been the best player all series. Honestly, if you're going to pick an MVP of the series, even though the Knicks are down up 3-1, and even though Brunson just dropped 47, in my mind, I think you could make a case for Embiid in the way he's played all year, all series. I don't think
Yeah,
it's an
you
asinine
definitely can,
statement.
especially for everything he's dealing with, which is
Yeah.
kind of crazy when you think about it. He's been playing really well. It's just like I said, we both had the Knicks winning this series, so nothing I'm seeing is surprising me. The only thing I'll say that is surprising me was that when I saw the clips of Knicks fans in Philly going crazy. Now,
Listen,
it's one thing.
yep,
It's one thing.
yep,
It's one thing. If it's happening like, let's say if it's happening like in Brooklyn, like because it's whatever, it's still New
right.
York, whatever. I get that. Whereas like the commute is right there. This is not even that long a commute, but just to see the amount of, not even the amount. Let's say this: when I was watching the game, it was so loud during plays for the Knicks. I was like, yo, this feels like a home game.
Yeah,
That's
it is
crazy.
crazy. It's
That's
absolutely
that's
insane. And
crazy.
I've been going to Knicks games in Philadelphia since 2006. Essentially, since my first year, Kwab and I went to college in the area. We didn't go to college in Philadelphia, but we went to college about 30 minutes from Philadelphia.
Yep.
And every year I would go to the games where the Knicks played the Sixers, and every year the Sixers would beat the crap out of the Knicks. And both teams are bad. Like both teams are terrible. So it was like an
Yeah.
empty building. But I have been to Knicks Sixer games where it's like, yo, I'm not gonna cheer too hard, or yeah, like I'm gonna be kind
You
of
gotta be
careful.
kind of careful.
Yeah, I went
Yeah.
to a Magic Sixers game. Our mutual friend, shout out to Kizzo, who gets mentioned on this pod like every month for some reason. Somewhere or another, Kizzo shout out. But Kizzo at the time was a Magic fan. I know he switches up, but he's a big Dwight Howard fan. And we went to a Magic Sixers game, and dudes try to fight Kizzo from wearing a Dwight Howard jersey.
That was
Like,
Jersey, yeah.
like I had another sweet mate. Shout out to Chuck, Coach Chuck. He was a Giants fan, and he would go to Giants Eagles games. And I was like, dude, I want to go with you. And he came back from one of the games. He's like, don't you ever go to Lincoln Financial Stadium because you will get killed. You will die.
They'll try to
You
find
will
you.
die. And I know that's an Eagles game, but Eagles, Sixers, Phillies, they're the same fans, essentially.
In the same spot.
Same
They
spot.
all play in the same spot.
Yeah, they all play in the same
Yeah,
parking
so
lot for
that,
people who don't know. It's literally all in the same parking lot. So, yeah, man, just to see that was kind of interesting, especially because the Sixer fans and the Philadelphia fans that I know too, like, wouldn't tolerate that. They would, like, if I
yeah, that's like I was shocked. That's dude, I'm still confused. I'm like, yo, was it because it was like a Sunday game and it was early? Like I'm that they were like chanting FNB. I'm like, yo, this is kind of jarring. I'm shocked. I'm shocked at that. But it happens. That happens. That aside, all that aside, yeah, I feel like the Knicks should either close it out the next game
bro, I
or
just
the
saw
game
your
after.
name. I just saw your name for the fucking I hate you, bro. I'm leaving
I'll
this.
wait for you to
Hold
notice.
on, I'm leaving this in. So we have to log into. We're recording on this program called remotely. Sometimes they do StreamYard, and you have to put your name in. I put Josh every single time. Kwab mixes it up. He puts something else every time. We're using remotely, so you don't typically see the name right away. I don't, at least. And Kwab put his name as DEI hire. I hate you, bro.
I saw a thread on Twitter or whatever X, and it pissed me off. That's the reason.
Oh my god,
But
bro.
it annoyed me.
That's
These
so
people are
funny,
annoying
bro.
me.
That's so
People are
funny.
annoying me. But
Bro, the
whew,
play-in's basically
that
like
aside,
the play-in's like DEI. That's DEI.
yeah. Uh,
I don't know what we were saying. Basically, it shocks us
basically,
that Philadelphia
yeah.
allowed that to happen, because I've never seen.
They
I
allowed
never
that to
thought I
happen.
would see that in Philadelphia. If you were going to
Same.
say, "Hey, name the city this happened where the Knicks fans took over," Philadelphia would be last on my list. It honestly
Would be
would have
last.
it would have been last on my list for sure. So
Yeah, I'm
before
shocked,
we move
but
on to the next highlight, Quab, is this series over?
yeah,
Oh, okay.
I felt like it was over. It was over to me. It was over when you guys won Game 2,
Really? Okay.
because that's like The Sixers should have won that game.
Yeah, they
That's
should have. You're
no, like that.
Yeah.
Sixers should have won that game. I was surprised. No, not even surprised. I'll say this: the Sixers should have won Game 2. Game 3, the Knicks should have won Game 3 because Embiid shouldn't have been in the game for the 50 points after he was out here doing sweep legs and knee people in the groin and all this. He was doing all this crazy stuff, and I saw a lot of complaining on the people like, oh my God, he should have been kicked out. Side note, and I texted you this last year when the Sixers played the Nets and Embiid kicked Claxton in the nuts.
No one cared.
And I was like, dog, he should have got kicked out of the game. People were like, oh, dog, you're being a homer. The Sixers I'm like, fine, cool, whatever you say. That man is one of the most talented players to ever play the game.
Yeah.
But he's also very clumsy, and he falls weird, and he does all this weird stuff that he gets away with. I get that because it was in Philly and it's a playoff game, maybe they felt the pressure like, oh, we can't kick him out. That's a flagrant 2. I've never seen somebody grab somebody in the air while you're on the ground. I've never seen that before. But that aside, the Knicks should be able to close. I feel like they should be able to close out the game and then the next game or the game after. But if you guys, and this goes to Knicks fans, if you thought Game 3 was bad in terms of like the antics, or even this game, in terms of the antics between Embiid and like Kyle Lowry doing his crazy stuff, it's gonna be worse. It's gonna be worse next game. So
don't get me started on Kyle Lowry. He does not play basketball.
Future Hall of Famer Kyle Lowry.
You need to stop that right now. That's not even funny.
Future Hall of Famer Kyle Lowry. Look at his resume.
Right. Let's move on to headline number 2. The real James Harden is here. The Mavs have no answers. Kwab, is this real or fake news?
Fake news.
Fake news. Okay. You do not believe.
No, I partly because because I had the Mavs winning the series regardless. Okay. But I have to go back and watch this game, especially like third quarter on. It was a great game in terms of seeing how well Harden played, how well Kyrie played.
Can I just say something? I know
go ahead.
You a lot.
Go ahead.
The Mavs went up like 20 in the first quarter, and I passed out. I felt
the Clippers did. The Clippers did.
I'm sorry. Yeah, the Clippers went up like 20. I was like in my bed watching, and I was like falling asleep. And then they went up like even more, like 24. And as they were going up, I'm like, this game's over. And I passed out. And then I woke up. Like I was waking up, and as I was waking up, it was like a tie game in the fourth quarter. I was like, what the hell happened? But go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah. It was. I want to say they were up by 30 or something like that, and then the Mavs made a comeback. And Luka didn't really play that well overall during the course of the game. The Clippers are officially without Kawhi until further notice because his knee keeps inflaming. James Harden had a great game, like in terms of getting to his spots with the floater and the layups.
Yeah, at the end, I was awake for that.
Yeah, you saw that part. You saw that part. and PG was hitting some shots. He looked good. I mean, Harden looked good, but like this is the problem is that this is usually the case with Harden where he'll have, and we've seen this in previous years, you have like a really good game and then like a subpar game when it comes to the playoffs, and it's just always so weird because you expect he's such a great player, you expect consistency from him, and a lot of times you don't get that from him. So they were able to pull out this victory, but there was a stretch in the fourth quarter you felt like, yo, the Mavs are about to win this. Like when Kyrie made that crazy layup in between three people off the right foot, like it was amazing.
He's insane.
So yeah, he's insane. So yeah, that's what. So my thing is like I was hard to make. Yeah, I don't know. I have Fugazi for that. I don't know. What do you have for that?
I have half fake. It's like half fake, half real news. Real news. I think I think that's who James Harden is, man. I listen. I know he has his failures in the playoffs. I get it, but I think a lot of people overlook his accomplishments in the playoffs and the games that he's had, where he has looked like the former MVP and he has looked like one of the best players we've ever seen. He's had those games. It's not like every game this guy's shooting 2 for 15. It's just that a lot of times in huge moments he doesn't show up. So this is game 4. This is not like a game 7. You know, it doesn't surprise me he had the game that he had. For me, like this is really who he is. He will give you this. You will get this performance from James Harden. He has these performances. He's had these performances throughout his career. The problem is it's not as consistent as Rockets fans want him to be, as Sixers fans want him to be, and we'll see if Clippers fans. What I think is fake news is the Mavs have no answers. I do think they have answers. from what I was watching, they were just basically getting Harden in a pick and roll, not a pick and roll, but basically getting Luka's man on him and going to work with Luka. And Luka, shout out to Luka, because I do think he's been playing better defense for the most part this series. I didn't watch the whole game because I was dozing off from the second, whatever. But he was torched by Harden, and I thought the Mavs were very weak to help out. Defensively, they didn't really rotate fast enough. Harden got into the lane and did whatever he wanted. But I do think Jason Kidd can come up with some defensive schemes to kind of stop that situation from happening. Maybe you pre-switch, maybe you double, maybe you help a little earlier, or you
maybe you play Lively and Gafford so that Harden can't just roll into the paint and just shoot layups over like small people. But that's an adjustment, Jason. Whatever. You could,
I think Jason Kidd's a terrible coach, but we won't get into that. But I think it's half real, half fake. The real part is I think I'm not a huge James Harden fan, but I do think he's disrespected, and I think his legacy is a little tarnished from, to be fair, some failures that he's had in the playoffs, and sometimes he's come up short. But I do think that he's had moments. He's had big moments in the playoffs, and it doesn't surprise me that he had a big game. So we'll see what happens. I can't figure out this series though, Kwab. I can't. I have no idea what to make of these teams. I don't know how good the Mavs are. I don't know how good the Clippers are. Sometimes I think each game of this series, I except for Game 3, I knew the Mavs were going to come out in Game 3 and probably win that first game at home. But the other 3 games I got wrong in my head. So I can't figure this out. I don't know who to take. The Clippers are winning without Kawhi. They get Kawhi. They lose with Kawhi. Mavs, it just doesn't make any sense to me. I can't figure these two teams out. We both had the Mavs in 6. I don't know. You had the Mavs in 7. You had the Mavs in 7, which I think it's most likely to go now that I'm watching this series. Are you going to change that pick? Or are you sticking to that?
No, I just feel like I picked 7 because I feel like the amount of talent on both sides, you're gonna have games like this where like the talent's gonna shine, where you're gonna have big Harden games, big PG games, big Kyrie, big Luka games. They're gonna swing. So I feel like it's gonna end up in 7, and that pressure of a game 7. Somebody's going to come out, and that's what I'm going to leave it as. I feel like the pressure of a Game 7 is going to decide. Is going to be the big factor.
So you're saying the next headline's going to be about James Harden just in another...
Honestly, I'm not. No, I'm not.
All right, let's move on to headline number 3. Murray questionable. Window open for the Lakers to make history. Now, the Lakers were down 3-0 in the series. They did win Game 4 in Los Angeles to cut the series lead to 3-1. Now, Murray has a calf injury. He's questionable for Game 5. If he's out, we don't know if he's out. I don't think he's going to be out, but let's play this game, Kwab. It's going to be fun. Let's just say Murray misses Game 5. Does that open the window for the Lakers? Does that open the window for LeBron James to not only have one of the greatest 3-1 comebacks of all time, but now be the first team ever to come back from 3-0? Real or fake news? Can the Lakers make history?
Hang up the banner. The Lakers didn't get swept by the Nuggets. But they're going to lose. So it doesn't matter.
Fake news.
Like,
This is fake. Why? Hold on.
Fake news.
The headline was the producer and me like, let's talk about it. So, like, let's be honest. They have no shot. This series is over. The series is over. I don't care. I don't care if Murray sits out Game 5. I don't care. And it's over. The series is over. Seriously, the Denver Nuggets are going to blow a 3-0 lead?
If somehow the Lakers get this to a Game 6, right, it's when I might start like,
no,
I might have some questions.
They would have to get to 7 for me.
I might have to that's what a little bit of, but I don't see them being. It's a terrible matchup for the Lakers. It's just a terrible matchup for the Lakers. They've been outplayed, outcoached. To play when a team has your number, they have your number. Because it feels like every time I watch them play the Nuggets will be like, oh, we're down 20. We have them right where we are. Time to break your spirits.
This happens in like almost every game they play, which is insane. It's so
crazy.
Wild.
It's crazy, but it's like if you really look at, we always talk about Nuggets have one of the best starting lineups, or if not the best starting lineup in the league. Like Michael Porter Jr. has been playing really well for them, and in most games he's like the 3rd or the 4th option. That's crazy.
Yeah,
he's a 20-point walking bucket like easily the way he shoots and he plays off Jokic. So I I'll be very surprised because they're gonna need another big game and from everybody on the Lakers for them to have a chance to beat the Nuggets again. That's D'Lo, Reeves, somebody from the bench to step up. I don't know who. So, but yeah, I don't see a comeback happening. But they didn't get swept, so hang the banner.
Hang the banner,
They finally
baby.
beat the Nuggets.
Let's go.
They finally beat the Nuggets. They didn't get swept, so it's cool.
I'll say
It
this
wasn't a sweep.
to defend the Lakers. I mean, they were literally like a huge blown lead in game 2. A Jamal Murray miracle fade away from this being a 2-2 series, and we having a completely different tone with Jamal Murray being questionable for game 5. Like it's like that. That's like the difference between like no hope and wow, this is actually a series. It just shows you like the margins are like that small, you know. And it's interesting because you and I were talking about our predictions, and we're like, AD has to be the man. And AD has been phenomenal, bro. Like
Crazy.
yeah,
He's been crazy.
yeah.
It hasn't mattered much.
It just is what
He's
it
playing.
is.
This is the best. Consistently, he's been playing out of his mind.
He has been,
LeBron has still been playing well, but
but you have
you're
D'Angelo
not
Russell
getting-
on your roster. I've been trying to tell him. Kwab. I've been trying to tell. I've
still
been
loading.
saying it since the day he
he's
was
still
traded.
loading.
He's still
Still
loading.
Loading.
We're still waiting on him.
Come on.
We're still waiting on him.
Wait.
He's in dial-up. He's still on dial-up.
He's dial-up. I mean, it's happening. It's happening. They need consistency, and they need, I don't know, better. Ham did a better job, I guess, with some of the rotation, given like I think Jackson Hayes some playing time here or there just to give a different look. In order to beat the Nuggets, you need to be consistent. You can't have a dull third quarter like Lakers consistently have had all season. And you need everybody to make like the little mistakes they have, they end up compounding each other. And that means like you just said, the Jamal Murray shot, right? But during the course of the game, there's like little moments where all of a sudden they leave like Michael Porter Jr. open, or Aaron Gordon is getting offensive rebound after offensive rebound in the back door, and that all those little things, they make a difference in a playoff series. So they just have to be on their P's and Q's if they want to. I don't think they need to not worry about making history. They need to worry about winning the next game and just looking at it that way. But like I said, they didn't get swept, so but I will be shocked.
That's a W.
I'll be shocked if they leave Denver with a win.
Yeah, me too. If they win in Denver, that'll shock me too. All right, let's move on to headline number 4. Cavs Fugazi. Win or lose, Cleveland needs a makeover. Real or fake news? Kwab, I'll start this one. This is real news, man. Blow it up. Blow it up. I don't care. First of all, you tanked to get this matchup. This is not even the matchup that you like. This is the matchup you wanted. You know what I mean? This is weird because Cavs fans were making fun of Knicks fans on Twitter saying, "Oh, you guys, this is what you get for playing your starters 45 minutes. You get the Sixers in the first round. Congratulations." After the Sixers won Game 3. Well, guess what, buddy? See my segment about the Knicks earlier before. The reason why the Knicks are up 3-1 is because, this is who they are. They're built this way. They play every game like it's the playoffs. Cavs, man, the Cavs are confusing to me. The talent's there, and they've played fantastic basketball in January and February that had people thinking like, yo, this team actually could be something. Like, we actually might be talking about this team going to Eastern Conference Finals. And give some credit to the Magic. Let me do that first, because I don't want to make it seem like this is just about the Cavs. Give some credit to the Magic. The Magic were down 0-2. They go down at home very early in Game 3, and they just overwhelmed the Cavs. They overwhelmed in the second half as well. I think they're the more physical team. I don't think they're the more talented team. I hate the term they wanted it more, but they seem like they are tougher. Very similar to like the Knicks-Sixers series, where it's just like, I don't think the Knicks are more talented than the Sixers, and the Sixers have 2 superstars and the Knicks have 1. Similarly to, the Magic Cavs, where it's like, yeah, they have Paolo, but outside of that, like, is Wagner like really at that level yet? You have Donovan, you have Darius, you have all these other players who have proven to be stars or superstars in the league, and it just seems like the Magic are just tougher. They seem like they want it more. I hate when analysts like reduce it to that, and I'm doing that right now. But that's pretty much what this feels like, really. It just seems like the Cavs are soft.
I think part of it has to do with the Magic being so a lot of your players, a huge core of your roster is so young, and maybe they had to get adjusted to the playoff, how the playoffs are played the first couple of games, and having the next 2 games at home helped them greatly. Just being like, oh, your role players play better when you're home. It's always a big saying. And like you said, I hate saying the whole thing of they wanted it more, but both games they won, they played like they wanted it more.
Yeah.
The Cavs just looked out of sorts watching the games, like
And-
they
and
didn't.
I think-
Yeah, I don't.
I think the Cavs are a bad matchup for the Magic too. Like they have the length defensively to bother them. You know what I mean? It's not like the Magic are a great offensive team to begin with, but even that, I feel like what the Magic do well, like the Cavs can offset that with their length, with their athleticism, with their big guard. Like it just seems like not the big guards because Darius and Donovan are small, but their big front line, and it just doesn't make sense to me how. Not that the Magic won 2 games, but they won the 2 games in the fashion that they won the 2 games because the Cavs look so dominant in the first 2 games. They look like the better team in the series. And to me, when you go on the road like that and you get smacked in the way that they got smacked, that seems more mental. Like they haven't won a road game in this era. You know, they lost every game to the Knicks on the road last year, 0-2 against the Magic. Like, and I think before that, I think since Biggerstaff has taken over, he hasn't won a road playoff game. I'm not really sure about the record before that, before the Knicks. But it just doesn't. I don't know, man. I think the Cavs still win the series. I think they win Game 5. I think they're the better team. I think they're a more talented team. But they're front runners. Like when things are going really well, they play really well, and then like when they get punched in the mouth, they don't really know how to respond, especially on the road. So I had them in 6. I wouldn't surprise me. This wouldn't surprise me if this goes 7. But to answer the headline, win or lose, Cleveland needs a makeover. I do think they need a makeover. I think they need. Just a whole new personality, a whole new team, and Donovan seems like he wants out. So this could be the last series that Donovan is in as a Cav if they end up losing.
True. I don't know when I hear makeover, I don't know what type of changes they would need to make that would still keep them like on that trajectory of just like winning. Because regardless of how they're turning out now, they've been winning ever since they made their trade. So. Yeah, I still have them in 6 also. So I feel like Cavs should win the next game and hopefully adjust and playing on the road and get a W. But
yeah,
go ahead.
Yeah, I don't even know if it's adjustments. I just think it's a mental thing.
Yeah, I mean that's a mental adjustment. You got to that's part of it. We got to mentally adjust to playing on the road. Like you can't get in a game where they got blown out by like 40. I was like, what is this score? It just feels like a regular season game score. Like, what is happening? And 2 teams are like, you're not that. It's not like it was like a 1 versus 8 seed, that type of score. It was like these two teams. You feel like there will be a close games and close matchups. But yeah, I still feel like the Cavs should pull this out. Now it wouldn't surprise me if the Magic found a way to win the next 2 games either. So, but if that happens. Feels like Donovan is definitely out of there.
Gone.
Gone. I don't know where he's gonna end up, Nets, but we'll see. So.
It's a shot. I don't know what you're gonna give Cleveland, but yeah, I know that's been rumored.
The Phoenix Suns picks.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
All right, let's move on to the last and final headline. Headline number 5: Season dead. Bucks making funeral arrangements. Very dramatic, but real or fake news, Kwab?
Oh, that's real. It's just been. This is not. It's been a weird season for them. It's been rough. Like after the trade, which happened kind of late with Dame, it was like okay, now they got to get adjusted, and then you had the former Portland coach that was gonna be the lead assistant of the
Terry
Bucks.
Stotts.
He left.
Yeah.
I was about to say Terry Porter. I'm like, it's not Terry Porter.
Definitely not Terry Porter.
Stotts.
Terry Porter and Terry Stotts are 2 different human beings.
Yeah, I was like, it's not Terry Porter. So that's why I was like, I'm just gonna give out the context clues. I know he's gonna assist me. So it's like after he left, somehow they were winning games, but every game we watch, we're like, yeah, they look kind of rough. Like this team looks kind of rough, even with Dame and Giannis, they look kind of rough, but they were still like the number 2 seed. Made a coaching change to the great Doc Rivers. Not gonna make any Doc jokes, but okay, Doc Rivers. Okay, cool. They had to try to make a trade just to get a better defensive personnel. Got Pat Bev. Then it's been injuries, and then you match up with the team that's had your number all season, which is the Pacers, even when you guys were healthy. a lot of people had them losing, even with Giannis healthy, and now you know Giannis, no Dame, and then OG Bobby Portis went off at the beginning of the game and got kicked out. Yeah, it's a wrap. It's a wrap. I don't know. I feel like they got to figure it out and retool next season. Just if they look at like this is what we have, and let's try to make a run next season if we're healthy. But yeah, it's not looking good for them. It might be a wrap.
Yeah, it's a wrap, 100%. It's over. Funeral's over. Well, the funeral's actually not over. The funeral's just getting started, making the arrangements for the funeral at least. It's sad because like there were a lot of high expectations going into the year. It's also frustrating too. Like I feel for Bucks fans when Dame goes down, when Giannis goes down. You have your two best players. You don't know what could have happened. You know what I mean? Like who's to say they wouldn't have turned it around somehow? Who's to say that Doc would have figured out in the playoffs? Who's to say that Dame wouldn't have went off? Who's to say that Giannis wouldn't have a run similar to when they won the championship? You don't know. The talent's there. And that's the thing with the Bucks. Outside of the Celtics, they're the most talented team in the East. They have the highest ceiling in the East. I'm a Knicks fan, but I don't think they have a higher ceiling than the Bucks if the Bucks are actually playing to their ceiling. And that's at least my opinion. So it's sad. For the second year in a row, you're going down because of an injury to Giannis and now an injury to Dame. And I just feel bad. I genuinely feel bad for Milwaukee Bucks fans. I would feel worse if they didn't win a championship a couple years ago. But it's got to be frustrating, for 2 years in a row, you have these high expectations, and then it's all of a sudden like the postseason comes and you have nothing to look forward to. That's like a very deflating thing. And there's no reason for it. I can't sit here and be like, well, the Bucks lost this series because X, Y, Z, and they need to fix this. It's almost like now you go into an offseason without any really answers, right? You don't know what could have been. You don't know if things could have got fixed. You don't know the reason why you would have gotten bounced out. You know what I mean? So now it's kind of like it's a clean slate, which is a great thing, but it's also a thing where it's like I don't even know what to fix with this roster, really. If you think, well, I'm not saying you don't know what to fix the roster, but you don't have answers as to why you lost or answers as to what you need to do to get better and to get over that hump. Like if you would have played the Celtics and lost in 7, you have a clear answer. We lost in 7 to the Celtics because they were able to do this to us. Or if we lost to 7 against the Knicks, we lost to the Knicks in 7 because they're able to do this. You don't have that anymore. And now you have Doc Rivers as a head coach who, let's be honest, just didn't figure it out in the second half. He had a worse record than Adrian Griffin. They played sloppy.
I mean, it's tough. It's tough to just be thrown in there just like that to run a team that's like there might be some dysfunction behind the scenes that nobody really talks about. But like you watch how well Chris Middleton has been playing this playoffs, and since coming back from injury, even how Dame looked like the first couple of games, how like you say you wonder what could have been. So you do feel bad for the fans, but you're hoping like if they lose this series, but you're going to when the series is over, they have a clean off season where everybody can get healthy. They can address some issues in terms of getting better point of attack defenders on the roster. And if you're moving forward, Doc Rivers, he has a chance to actually implement what he wants to do in an actual full off season and training camp and move forward and see what happens. But yeah, it's like you said, that trade happens, you kind of get excited, like, oh my goodness, they got Dame and you got Giannis. This pick and roll duo is going to be unstoppable with all these shooters.
Yay. Wah, wah.
Wah, 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 wah.
Yeah, man, it's a shame. That's it for headlines. We're done. There are other series. OKC Pelicans, not really much to talk about. The Pelicans just without Zion have no shot. Down 0-3. Do not think they're going to come back and win that one. So I don't even want to talk about that. I know it sounds like small market, but like, do you really want us to break down the Pelicans Thunder? Seriously, do y'all really want us to do that?
I mean, the Thunder look great. I was just saying, the Thunder look great.
They do. And it's going to be fun to watch them in the next round play against the Mavs or Clippers. That's going to be fantastic to watch. Heat, Celtics. The Celtics beat the crap out of the Heat in Game 3.
Doesn't matter.
Going to
7.
Bro, it would not surprise me
Heat are winning.
if the Heat won Game 4 by like 15 points. It would not surprise me at all. So we'll keep tabs on that as well. I don't think that series is over. I think the series is over. I think the Celtics are going to win that series. But how they win it remains to be seen. Yes, Kwab, stop it. Stop it. Not without Jimmy. Not without Jimmy.
Who's stopping Jaime Jaquez? Like, we're not really, let's ask the real questions.
And last but not least, the
Who's
Wolves and
stopping Haywood
Suns.
Highsmith? Like,
We didn't have anything for the
let's
Wolves and
ask real
Suns because
questions.
we're recording during the Wolves and Suns game. It was the only time we could record today. Right now, literally right now, the T-Wolves are up by
Now,
1 halfway through the third. Quickly about that,
let's do
actually,
that.
I do want to talk
Yes.
about that for like 2 seconds. We got to talk
Let's
about
do
that.
that because I was gonna say I had the Suns winning this
Yeah.
series,
You go first.
and from the first game I was like, oh shit, was my reaction.
I made the wrong decision.
I was like, damn. I mean, I was like, hold on, whoa. Like, credit to the Wolves, man. Credit to the Wolves. Defensively, them boys are guarded like you. Like Jaden McDaniels. I made the joke when Anthony Edwards said, "Yeah, they have KD, but we have Jaden McDaniels."
Yeah.
He's right. They have Jaden McDaniels. They have Alexander Walker. Just the perimeter defense has been great. Rudy has been playing well. There's just been Ant has been Ant, and it's just been beating the crap out of the Suns. Side note: Candace Parker retired, which is very sad. She's one of the greatest basketball
She
players
is.
to ever touch the court.
100%.
100%. She's a real CP3. And transitioning back, the Suns should never trade CP3 for Bradley Beal because it made no damn sense. Y'all need a point guard. Like we've been saying this.
And honestly,
You need
Ayton
a
too,
setup,
man.
man.
Like,
It's
need
not
a guy who-
working.
yeah, it's not. And listen, I know DeAndre
It's
Ayton
not working.
was like half disappointing for the Suns, but people treated DeAndre Ayton like he was a bum. DeAndre Ayton was not a bum. He just wasn't what people thought he would be. He wasn't like a first overall draft pick of a draft. But DeAndre Ayton, like, he was a very serviceable big man who did things that you needed to get to the NBA Finals. I mean, they had a 2-0 Finals lead, a couple years ago with this man as their center. I think they gave up on him way too early. That's me personally. I like Nurkic, but I don't think he really. I do think he adds things offensively, but for the grand scheme of things, I think what he adds, it wasn't necessarily needed. They needed more someone who can like bang and get boards and be more physical and work more in the paint and down low than Nurkic does, And I tweeted this out. I'll say it here because I know that everyone who listens to the show follows me on Twitter. But I really hope that this is the end of the big three or the let's get all these superstars on one team and see what the hell happens era. You had the
No.
Suns fail. You had the Nets fail twice, by the way.
Nets didn't fail.
Twice. You had like the Dwight Howard, Kobe Lakers fail. Like so many teams have failed at this. That to the point where
This
it's
is
like
okay.
you have to realize at some point it takes more than just like randomly assembling talent together and saying, "Hey, let's make this work," because it obviously doesn't work. It doesn't. And to your point,
hold on,
Bob,
hold on.
listen,
Go ahead.
I get it.
Sorry.
Kyrie gets hurt. Harden gets hurt.
No.
Durant has a big
That's
foot.
not-
Oh, okay. Say what you're gonna say.
Bring up my pain. Talk about my pain. No, I was gonna say in terms of super teams and big threes and all that. I don't feel like it's gonna go away. But when you put together a big three or whatever, a bunch of superstars, you got to make sure they fit. That's all. Like they have to fit. Like
I think people,
When
but
you
I think
talk
when this
about-
happens, people convince themselves that it fits. It's like, well, Booker, KD, and
they
one could play off
they
ball,
do,
one could
which
play
is
point.
stupid.
I mean, we were doing it. I
Yeah.
was doing it. Like, oh yeah, maybe it could. Like, you know what I mean?
maybe. Yeah, but you go back, you look at somebody like if you look at the Nets in terms of like their big three, you had Harden who was more of a playmaker, so
Yeah.
he was more of a point guard, so it worked out, and Kyrie could play the pseudo too, so that worked out. Like you have to have the pieces have to fit. Putting together Beal and Booker, who are both like, I need the ball. You're not like ball. You're not. You know what I mean? They're not creators like that where it doesn't happen. And then a lot of games I watch in the Suns, I've never seen KD. Two things. I've never seen KD be just a spot up option for in the course of a game where he's just standing in the corner waiting for shots, just not involved in the offense. Or this game when I was watching earlier, I've never seen him be so aggressive and dunking the ball because he's like in like, yo, we need to win this game because they're in chaos mode. I don't know if this stops. People are saying like, oh, this is gonna stop the big three era. I just think whatever big three you choose, they have to fit. Like you can't, for example, you can't go be like, oh, we have LeBron and AD. Let's get Russell Westbrook. That doesn't fit.
Right.
You know what I mean? It doesn't fit. The pieces have to fit. Now if it was like in case of when it was like LeBron and Kyrie and Kevin Love, those pieces fit, and then the pieces around them fit. So I feel like I don't think it's gonna end, just because great players like playing with great players. It makes your life easier. That's all. Like they enjoy playing. Like it makes your life easier. And if the right situation comes along, they will probably end up teaming up. But they just have to be smarter about it. This is not 2K. You can't just be like, I'll take this player, and like you always talk about the puzzle pieces and the painting. It has to be like, or it has to be right. Like it has to fit. And some of the it looks really bad for the Suns, especially with how bad their cap situation is and all this moving forward. So I just hope it fizzles out. It goes to like hell. They end up like tanking, looking bad because the Nets have their picks, and I need it to crumble.
Give me those picks. I need those picks. Give me those picks.
Give me your picks. What do you want? Sam Presti, what do you need, baby?
You got more of those picks. You got more of those picks. No, you're right.
Picks?
I do think it's over though. Specifically the three. Like the idea that you need three. I do think you're going to see GMs try to pair duos because I think you can make a case that you need two. But I think the idea of three, GMs might take a look at it now and be like, that might be a little overkill. We've seen this blow up in our faces too often. And then you look at the NBA champions, the Denver Nuggets, and you're like, oh, they don't really have a big three. They more have a unit. They have two all-stars, and they have a unit. And then teams this year, too, like who could win, like the Celtics. Oh, like they have two stars, but it's more like a unit. You know what I mean? And I think you're going to see more of that. I mean, even when the Raptors won, it was Kawhi and Pascal, but like, is Pascal really like, you get what I'm saying? So
yeah,
the Warriors, even the Warriors' big three is Draymond real? Like, you know what I mean? Like Draymond wouldn't be considered. Draymond Green would not be considered a big three. You know what I mean? Like there was there's a trio.
But you know what I'm saying? But the fit, core,
right?
Fit.
But
when they added KD, they still had Draymond there as like their facility. Like it just like but the point you're making is perfect. Instead of like a big three or like even a duo, you need a unit. You need like everybody needs to know their role. It just has to fit perfectly. To whatever offense you're trying to run and however you're trying to play.
But also defensively too, man, because that's the Suns' problem, really. Like, you can have all the offense in the world and you can have all the weapons in the world, but if you can't rotate on defense, if you can't guard the perimeter, if you can't rebound, basketball's such a fragile game, man, and that's why it makes me laugh. Like, and I fall to this too. I'm not saying I'm not like that I'm perfect in my analysis of these type of things, but I was higher on the Suns than what they did this year. I didn't have them winning the championship, but I was like, maybe they'll get to the Western Conference Finals. But then you play a team like the T-Wolves who just have their ish together, and it's just like, damn, like it's a reminder that basketball is about a lot of things. It's about chemistry. It's about shot making. It's also about defending. It's about rebounding. I mean, the Knicks are a perfect example. I know we keep talking. I'm a Knicks fan. I'm sorry. But we keep talking about it, like getting offensive rebounds and being tougher. Like that's all part of basketball. Personality. The team develops a personality. The team develops a brand. Like all of that matters in basketball. And I think a lot of people lose sight of that. And I think GMs lost sight of that for a little bit. So you might be right. It may not be the end of the big three because one GM can just kind of like, this is our chance and we can get this person, like, let's just make it happen. Like, it's very tempting, especially if, like, you're a team that hasn't really sold tickets. I get that. But to me, I think it's going to be more of, like, we need two rather than we need three and then go from there. All right, Kwab. I didn't ask you how you were doing to start the show. I hope you're doing well. It was nice to talk to you. It was nice to get you on the episode. I kind of did a little bit of a solo spot about the Knicks-Sixers a couple days ago, and I had some Sixers fans mad at me, but I assume
you have to get that. You have to get that reaction now because Joel Embiid was wilding out there playing WWE.
Wilding. Listen, if you want to follow Dime, you can on Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube at the Dime NBA. I'm Josh Rodriguez at Josh_Rodriguez_. He's Kwab at Kwab, AKAS. Don't know when we'll be back. Definitely before the second round to give you our predictions. But, follow us on social media. That's what it's there for. We do tweet. Let us know. All right? Till next time.
Okay, bye.
See you for the episode of The Dime. Peace.